Since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Moscow has repeatedly declared its readiness to use nuclear weapons against Ukraine. Russian propagandists constantly threaten European capitals and Washington with a nuclear attack for supporting Kyiv. Experts believe that another portion of nuclear blackmail is intended to deter Ukraine's allies from allowing them to use Western long-range weapons to strike Russian military facilities deep into Federation's territory.
In my view, there is a direct correlation between the fact that the US and the UK governments are suggesting that they are considering as to whether allow Ukraine to use Russian and British missiles to attack deep inside Russia. So there's direct correlation there, and Putin is saying, just stop it right there before further contemplation on this point, because it's going to have very dire consequences.
Such rhetoric no longer frightens the leaders of Western countries after the European Parliament passed a resolution calling on Ukraine to provide weapons and authorize their use against military targets on Russian territory. State Duma Chairman Volodin said that this would, quote, lead to a world war with the use of nuclear weapons. In response, Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said in an interview with Time that the only red line she sees in the war has already been crossed when the Russian Federation attacked Ukraine.
The measured response was in line with a growing trend among Western officials. For many of them, Vladimir Putin has begun to sound like the boy who cried nukes too many times, dulling the impact of his own nuclear deterrent and allowing many Europeans to shed their fear of it. From a Time magazine publication.
European Parliament President Roberta Melosa called the Kremlin's renewed nuclear threats a typical reaction and confrontation.
How we respond is the litmus test of our political generation. Now, for me and the European Parliament, the response is clear. We must stand with Ukraine, and will do so for as long as it takes. Now, this is not a case of altruism, nor is it grandstanding. We stand with Ukraine because we stand for a democratic world order. Because we understand that if Putin's 10-day plan to take control of Kyiv had succeeded, he would not have stopped there.
The Kremlin has also intensified its nuclear blackmail to influence the US presidential election, experts say.
Civilized countries, allies, should publicly demonstrate in every possible way that they are not interested in these Kremlin threats. Accordingly, I very much expect that when the presidential elections are over, then there will be a public declaration of support and permission to use long-range American and NATO weapons to hit any territory that the war dictates.
Despite Moscow's aggressive rhetoric, analysts at the US-based Institute for the Study of War believe that Kremlin will not risk using its nuclear arsenal. In their opinion, Moscow threats are aimed at deterring Western assistance to Ukraine. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Natalia Husak, Volodymyr Shtanhelov, UATV News.